Hey, flooring pros. I'm Jerry Levinson, and this is the Flooring Business Podcast, where we talk to expert flooring dealers, suppliers, marketing experts, and software experts, and anyone who I believe is going to help you in your flooring business. Now, my mission is to give you good information that'll help you reach your goals. If you're just starting your business, or you're trying to reach $5 million in sales, or you're getting ready to sell your business, you're going to find useful information that'll help you reach your goals and profit now in the flooring industry. The Flooring Business Podcast is brought to you by Ring Ring Marketing. Go to ringringmarketing.com and request a free analysis of your website, your area, and your scope of work. They'll make recommendations on how to best strategize your marketing efforts so you get the best return on your investment. You'll even get a coach that helps you get better results. Okay, well, I'm excited here. I got on guest blast from the past. Had him on once before, Brian Elias. And if you've ever listened to him speak at FloorCon or any other event, you've also had the opportunity to sit down one-on-one. Just a great positive influence, somebody that with a lot of experience in business and just a wealth of knowledge and positive inspiration for you. So welcome to the show, Brian.
Well, thank you for having me, Jerry. I know how many people's lives you make better because they listen to your stuff and they've followed your advice. And if I can make a difference in some of your listeners' lives, I look forward to it. I really do.
Well, you already have, and I appreciate it. So I hear you quoted quite often. One of the things that fascinates me is that you have come from other businesses, very successful businesses, the roofing industry. You were in the window replacement industry, and you grew these businesses very successful, sold them off. What similarities are there between these businesses? You are in the business of getting new business, is one of your quotes that you always remind people of. We're in the business of new business. So what are some of the similarities that cross these industries?
Well, what you have is you have a mom or the head of household. Usually it's the mom who has a problem inside or outside of her house that she's looking to get resolved. And she's relying on an expert to help her resolve that. That's where us as flooring people come in, and that's where we can make a difference for the customer. Is we're there to help mom solve her problem.
Yeah.
And to me, that's where the similarity comes in. The widget that we sell is irrelevant. What you're doing is you're selling a solution for mom.
And well, let me ask you about that, because one of the problems I've had traditionally in marketing that you are solving a pain point. And usually what I find with flooring, and certainly in the last two industries, it was more of a pain point. You got a roof when you needed it. You got new windows when you needed it. What I find with flooring is it's a choice, more often than not, to replace your flooring. And that's why I encourage everybody to, sell more expensive, more beautiful things. That this isn't somebody didn't have a flat tire and they have to get it replaced. It's not an unexpected expense. So from a marketing perspective, are you marketing the pain or the benefit?
Both. You're marketing both, but what you really have to do is you have to give the people a reason why. You have to give mom her reason. What she already knows she's not happy with her floor. You don't have to tell her. She already knows. The question is she willing to do something about it now or kick the can? Now, the vast majority of people I have found will stay with a bad floor for a very long time. And it's our job as a marketer to tell them that the time is now to change it because it's easy, it's fast, it's affordable. These are the things that are going to make a difference to mom. Is she needs it to be that way. She needs it to be now.
Yeah.
She needs to recognize that now is the right time. So that's why typically in this business, it's so busy before Christmas, because the pain point is I want to have people over, but I'm embarrassed by my house.
Right.
Or I want to be proud of the house that I invite people over. So that's why in November, we're typically busier. And if you recognize that they're going to do it for their own best interest, it's our job to paint them a picture what their best interest is.
So in marketing, one thing I like to say is I always ask my clients and other people, name the low price leader in our industry. And the one thing that I've noticed is there isn't a low price leader. Being low price isn't the name of the game. And I see people constantly marketing the fact that they're cheap or inexpensive or best price. And that's not attracting people, because to me, the best price in flooring is to do nothing.
Correct.
So
So your competition isn't really these big boxes. Your competition is the status quo, that the customer doesn't do anything. That's where you lose. So your job as a marketer isn't to try to beat the big box stores. It isn't trying to beat Empire Today or my company. Your job today is to get the person off the couch to say, "Hey, we got a problem. Let's look into it." And then once you get them off the couch, it's your job to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that you're the company to do business with.
and from a marketing perspective, wouldn't you say that it's more about hitting them between the eyes with what they're looking for, and it's not about you. It's not about why you're good. Not from marketing. That's selling, and try to
Right.
make a distinction between what's marketing and what's selling.
Right. So marketing is getting somebody to raise their hand and say, "I'm interested." That's
Right.
marketing. Okay. And when that person raises their hand, it's your job to prove beyond a reasonable doubt, just like court, that you're the right person to do business with. You
Exactly.
do that with your service, your guarantee, your aid in helping them select what's best for their home. All of those things is the part of the sales process. Getting them off the couch is the most important thing you can do.
So one thing that's been really difficult, and a lot of these companies, fair or unfair, have been criticized greatly for their poor performance in lead generation. Some of these web companies, because the cost of lead generation has gone up, and there's fewer customers, there's fewer business out there. And I've even seen that from the big companies who may be doing as well or a little better, but nobody's crushing it. And the majority of the industry is down. I mean, you got installers that are looking for work. So in the last quarter of 2024 here, we've seen things slow down in 2024 altogether. What would your advice be to somebody that is struggling with lead generation in today's market?
You have to ask yourself what your message is to the consumer. I often see advertising where all these companies, they're telling you, "I've been installing for 31 years. I've got an A plus rating with the Better Business Bureau. I've got 4.7 on Google." So they're talking about themselves
Right.
all the time in their advertising. And I like to flip the script. I like to talk about the results mom gets, how it's going to make their home better, how they're going to be proud to have friends over, how their house is going to be a place they fall in love with again, a place that they want to hang out in, where the family hangs out. That's what mom wants. Mom doesn't care about your 31 years in business at all. So you really have to ask yourself, who you trying to please? You're trying to please mom. And by the
Yeah.
way, the husbands are just trying to please mom too. So everything is centered around her. So we've got to build our business around her. And that's how you have to look at it every day. So if you pull up some of these websites, you'll see it's all talking about themselves.
Yeah.
See, does nothing for you.
Yeah, I feel like at one point I said, you know what? I don't matter. I just realized I don't matter.
Correct.
And if I'm talking to that customer, that if they're talking more than 50% of the time, then I'm getting their attention. What matters is why they're buying.
Right.
I love the saying, it's better to understand than be understood.
Correct.
So learning about them and what they need. But in your
But
marketing message,
they want to love they want to like home.
yeah.
They want it to be a place where their friends come over and their family hangs out. That's what they want. So they want to make it something to be proud of. And that's your job, is to get that message across to them.
So it's difficult for people to relate to you because you're approaching 100 million, and the vast majority of companies here are in that under $3 million that are in the flooring dealer group, and we talked to. So What advice would you give to them? And I've noticed you do this yourself, that you kind of dominate a product category. I mean, you really have that. You started off and you really built Refloor with the alternative to real wood flooring.
Correct.
You picked up real wood flooring since, but your marketing, your messaging is either luxury vinyl or laminate, but it's really an alternative to real wood flooring. So brand new flooring, and you don't do anything with carpet.
Not
So
yet.
can
We are looking to do carpeting in the future. We're just focused right now on getting good at what we do and getting better at what we do.
Yeah, I think
So
you'd crush it with carpet. I mean, I love carpet because it's the easiest thing in the world to sell with high margins.
carpet's easy. So I figured I'd do the hard thing first.
Yeah,
Okay. I'll do the difficult one first and and then when I'm across the country, we'll say, okay, let's add in a whole new product category and we'll just do it all at once. And I think it'll be relatively smooth.
but what do you think about that guy? He's got 3,500 to 5,000 a month that they're spending on marketing, and so and a lot of them are advertising everything. They're advertising cabinets, countertops, flooring, tile, carpet, hardwood, and they're broadening out the search to a large area. So when you have a small budget, what's a good plan of attack?
Pick your product that you want to sell to people that will get you the most amount of appointments for your dollar. You don't want to try to be everything to everyone. I tell this story a lot, and I'm going to set you up with this. Do you happen to know who the largest purveyor of meats in the world is?
I don't.
It's McDonald's. Does that
Oh,
surprise you?
wow. Yeah, that does. Yeah,
So
you don't
they
think of
make
that.
more meat than anybody in the whole world. So let me ask you a question. You walk into McDonald's. You've been to a McDonald's before, obviously,
Yeah.
correct, Jerry?
Yeah, you see my waist? Yeah.
Okay, so you walk into McDonald's, you walk up to the counter, you say, "I'd like a filet burger." What are they going to say to you?
Um, yeah, well, what type or
If you
you got a
say,
couple
"I'd like a
choices?
filet, like a filet mignon burger," what are they going to tell you? Do they have it?
Oh, no, not a filet mignon. Yeah,
But they're the largest purveyor of meats in the world.
right.
So you can't be everything to everyone. They are a burger place. That is what they specialize in. You need to specialize in one, two, or three things that are very similar to each other. If you try to spread yourself into everything, you'll end up doing nothing.
Yeah, there's a few observations I've noticed in working with other dealers and being in the industry is that there's guys that do kitchen cabinets, countertops, kitchen and bathroom model, and all types of flooring. They max out at about $3 million. The
Correct.
guys that are, I know a guy that's only selling luxury vinyl that's doing 6 million.
Correct.
So I see the one trick pony moving a lot faster.
Because when you do the same thing over and over again every day, you get good at it. Otherwise, you have all the kitchen curveballs. Oh, we have a wall here. We have a window in this space. You got all these things that you take time and energy to work on.
Right.
So if you're not doing the work every day, you have a bunch of curveballs that slow you down. So in that in when you slow down like that, it decreases your profitability opportunities. So I would tell you to specialize in one or two things. Okay, carpeting, tile, hard surface, and be done.
Yeah.
Once you go to kitchen cabinets and bathtubs and bathrooms and plumbing and electrical and heating, and it spreads you too thin, and that's brutal.
One thing that people say, well, customers want a one-stop shop. I don't think they do. I don't think somebody's looking for everything in one place. I think they're focused on a project.
I think that there are people out there that hire a contractor to do all of those things. However, what that contractor is doing is contracting with experts to get that work done. So I would tell you that to do what you do and don't worry about what the customer wants, do what's best for your business. And if you do what's best for your business, you'll be able to better take care of that customer.
But I've noticed a carpet store will sell a lot more carpet than a flooring store. So if
Correct.
one of your main products is carpet and you advertise that we sell flooring, people will drive right past you and go to Carpet King, who's on the corner.
Right.
So it's
Right.
just, you got to be very, very simple and specific about what they're looking for. Don't make it difficult for them to find you and buy from you.
It also slows down the buying process because if they have 20 decisions to make, so I want you to think they got to pick the color of the flooring, they got to pick the color of the backsplash, they got to pick the color of the countertop, they got to pick a color of the cabinets, they got to pick a sink for that's going to fit in there. They got to pick a paint color that's going to be on the walls. So you have all these decisions that one customer has to make, and they're trying to make all those decisions with one guy and one expert. You're doing the customer a disservice.
Yeah.
If you want to treat the customer right, become a specialty, do what you specialize in, and make it easy for that customer to buy. It isn't easy because you're a one-stop shop. It's easy because you have your systems down pat and you can execute quickly. I mean, if you call us today, I could literally put your floor in tomorrow because I built my business around being able to do that. You start with these curveballs of waiting for a countertop. Oh, we can't do your job right now. We're waiting on this one item. Everything slows you down, and time is your enemy. And you need to turn time into your friend.
You brought this up, and this is a question that Shane wanted me to ask you: is what percentage of your clients take advantage of installation?
Say it one more time.
What percentage of your clients take advantage of next day installation?
A very small percentage because they're not as ready as fast as we are.
Okay. Well, let me ask this then: do you attract them because of that? Maybe they don't take advantage of it, but is that something that helps attract them anyway?
I'm gonna word it like this. I always myself always want to do business with somebody who can get to my project quickly because they all hear the same horror stories about how long something took for somebody else. So what they really are looking for, in my opinion, isn't necessarily next day. What they really want is somebody who can get their job done quickly with as little interruption in their life as possible. That's what they really want, in my opinion.
Brian, you wouldn't believe how difficult some people make it to buy from them. They'll go out and do the measure and say, well, come into our showroom and then select the product that you want, and then I'll work you up a quote. It could take 3, 4, 5 days to even get an estimate.
It's funny. We're not always on the same page on this, but I will tell you this: when the customer brings you their measurements, you best give them a price on the spot.
Absolutely.
One way or another, give them a price now, and you have to. I'll hear people say all the time, "Well, I don't want to pressure them. I don't want anybody pressuring anybody." But I do want every person that's listening to me right now to make sure that they give them a price and say, when can I go to work for you?
Yeah.
Because I can't tell you how many times a guy drops off a price, doesn't ask for the business, and 3 months down the road, the customer hasn't made a decision because nobody asked them for their business. And all you had to do was say, hey, can I get you set up for a date of installation?
No.
Oh, to think on it. Let me ask you a question. What are you thinking about? You told me before you've been thinking about this for a couple of years. What are you waiting on? And you'll hear things like, well, I'm waiting for my income tax refund. Oh, okay. So let me ask you a question on that income tax refund. If I told you got 1 year to pay for it, that solves your problem, correct? Well, yes, it does. All of a sudden, you turn somebody no into a yes by just offering a solution to their problem. So if you don't ask them to buy, you can't get the objection, whatever that objection is, out of them without asking for it. So that's my recommendations. Ask for the business every time.
And you mentioned it yesterday too. It was a quote from Chet Holmes that I always quote, and I love it, is if you think it's in the best interest from your customer to buy from you over anybody else, then you have an obligation to close as hard as possible. And you might be criticizing Empire, but are you really going to let your customer not buy from you and buy from Empire? Because they're going to close the sale. So
Correct.
you're doing a disservice by not closing the job.
I'm going to give credit to those people. They're not afraid to ask for the business.
Oh, hell no.
And that's what we have to do as retailers, whether they're big or small. I mean, you got to remember 4 years ago, I was a small retailer. Today, I'm just a small retailer in a lot of locations. And that's really how I view it. Is you have to be there to serve that customer and say, this is what you need. I'm here to help. You go to a doctor because you're looking for somebody who can help you be healthy. When somebody comes to a flooring person, you're there to help them make their home beautiful. That's your job. And they want to know that the person that they're sitting there talking to has been an expert helping other people beautify their homes. No different than you want a doctor who's gotten sick people healthy. And that's how you have to think.
Well, one of the challenges that a lot of people have is they've set up a very complicated system for selling because they think about all the little details and everything that goes into it. What I do with my clients is help them bundle it. So if you got to put in baseboards, new baseboards, it's part of the installation price. Why is it a separate fee, a separate line item? Of moving furniture is part of the equation. Why is it a separate line item or free or choice? And I've made the argument that the people that can afford new flooring usually have bad backs. They can't move their own flooring. So put it in the price and don't make it necessarily an option. Give them a fantastic experience. And this leads to
How much more does
getting salespeople going.
how much more does a pickle cost on a burger?
Nominal. It's,
When you get to the cash register, do they say, "Do you want pickles on that?" And then it's going to be $4 more,
yeah,
or is it
right.
included in the price?
Right. It's just in the price.
So that's how you have to do it. You're there to make it smooth and seamless for that customer to buy, real easy.
But
So
that's it. That's it. It's not about unethically selling them. You're there to make it easy for them, right? And isn't it easier for them to give them everything and make it fantastic, even at a higher price than your competition? You're there to make it great for your customer and easy for them to buy from you.
I mean, I just want you to think about what I do is if somebody does call me and they have us out and they decide to hire us and we install the next day, I solve their problem, which is having an ugly floor. I solved it in less than 24 hours. That's what they want. They want it to be easy and simple. They don't want this complexity. They don't want to be thinking all these obstacles. Oh, I guess I have to do this. I have to do that. I have to move the couch. They want to know that it's all done for them. And that's why they hire me.
The majority of retailers come from the installation background. So they get very caught up in the details and they sell very mechanically. They want to know that I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, and I'm charging you X amount for this, X amount for that. They make it very complicated for themselves. Growing to $100 million in what, 5 years, or how long's it been? About
Somewhere in
5.
there.
Yeah. So growing that
As
fast,
a general rule, I don't talk numbers, but you're on the right track.
you have to hire a lot of people. You've had to hire a lot of people. Tell me a little bit about your hiring process. Are you looking for experienced flooring people?
No, I am looking for people that just are good people. I have something we call our core values. I know it's backwards when you look at this.
Yeah.
Okay. It's respect. If you read it, it says respect. So basically, I hire people on those core values. The R stands for responsible. The E stands for enterprising. Enterprising means they'll figure it out. S stands for system driven. I want people to follow our process. I don't want people doing it their own way. So system driven. P stands for positive. E stands for empathetic. You actually have to care what other people think. C stands for customer focused. And T stands for team player. So what I do is I interview and I decide when I'm talking to somebody, are they responsible? Either they're a plus minus, or a minus. Anybody that gets a minus during my interview cannot work for me. We allow 2 plus minuses during an interview, and everything else has to be positive. So basically, we interview to our core values, not to their flooring talents.
Good.
We can teach. So if somebody isn't positive, and you can tell during their interview, tell me about your last boss. He was dumb. Okay, tell me about how he was dumb. He was this, he was that, he was that, and all we did was complain about him every day. Okay, well, this is not a positive human being. Do I want that person running around in my office doing the same thing? So I look to hire the most positive, enthusiastic people I can find. I also want to know that they're responsible. Tell me about a time you missed work. Tell me how you feel when somebody shows up late to work. Are you typically on time yourself?
I love these questions.
When you leave, how do you feel when you leave a customer and something wasn't done? So, and I'm going to judge them on plus, plus, minus, or minus based on their answers to my question. And plus minus isn't a bad thing. If they're neutral, that's okay for a couple of the core values. You can't be perfect, but you want to make sure that you have nobody bringing down your culture, because your business is only as strong as your weakest link in your culture. So your weakest link is your worst person. So you want to make sure that you're hiring very good people right from the beginning. So that's how we do it every time.
Yeah.
And everybody has our same interviewing process. So we're always hiring good people.
So tell me about your training process. How long does it take somebody to get up and running where they're able to go out and sell?
It takes a week to 2 weeks to get them trained for sales. But they're going to make a lot of mistakes along the way. I would say it takes a good 90 days to get somebody to the level where I'd say they're pretty darn good.
Yeah.
But there's a learning curve. They're going to get things wrong. So what we've done is we create like a checklist inside of our software to make sure that they get the vast majority of the information right. Then when an order comes in, we have one of our project people actually call the customer and go over the order with them to make sure that our salesperson got it right and the customer is getting what they expect.
So go over that again with me. The process is they're out at the house and they're calling in.
No, they're out at the house and they're filling out, call it a checklist. They're asking, the computer system's asking a bunch of questions. I call it a checklist.
Okay.
Going through all of the things. Is there this? What are we tearing out? Is the room flat? Is there any dips in the floor? And it's asking a series of questions for each room to make sure that we have the opportunity to get it right every single time. So what happens is you don't have that checklist. I do mine on computer, but it's the same as a checklist.
Okay.
When we started, it was all a paper checklist. Check this, check this, check this, check this. How many layers of floor? Pull the vent cover out and look. All of the things that you know to do that they won't do unless you tell them to do it every time. So we do it every time.
Right.
Then we have somebody check the order when it comes in, and combine with the pictures that we take in every job. So every room, we mark everything down. Then we take our iPhone and we take the pictures of that room. They're all sent in to a centralized person who's going to look at that job and make sure we get it right.
Now, there's nothing about this process that anybody can't duplicate, just from you explaining it. And one thing I tell people is you don't need the software system. It's great to have, it's great to use, but unless you're using it really well, then go ahead and use pen and paper.
Every business needs checklists.
Yeah.
That's what software is, a checklist. It just doesn't look like a checklist. But it says, follow our process, follow our checklist, and we're going to get the job done the majority of the time correctly. And that's what we do every day. Jerry, I've never installed a floor in my life.
Right.
No bearing on me whatsoever, because I have experts that can install flooring. I have professionals that do that. I just make sure they have all the ingredients they need to make a great floor.
You're probably the only person in the flooring industry that knows less about flooring than I do.
I don't know a lot about flooring, but what I do know a lot about is this. It's your job to make mom happy. So if
Well,
you
you have
have
a
the best,
lifetime guarantee on not only the installation, but on the materials.
we what we do is we store materials and we do all the different things that it takes. So if somebody has a problem, we want to be their solution to solve their problem permanently. We don't want them to never have to deal with the floor again. That's how we do it. But the real issue isn't what our guarantee is. The real thing that makes is how we do to make sure that we earn their business the very first time. So that to me is following a process that the customer goes, God, they really covered everything. I trust them. And that's what you're really building there is that trust saying, because you asked all the right questions at the beginning and you followed your super process, the customer's watching you follow the process and going, wow, these guys are professional. And we were able to do that before our computer system. With our checklist, it was doing the same thing. Now we're going to check this, we're going to check this. And the customer's watching you do all of these steps. And when they watch you do these steps, they're going, wow, they know what they're doing.
Yeah, you're prepared.
And that's what they want. They want to know that when they hand you the keys to their house and say, come in and make a change here, they want to know that they hired the right person. And there's no question that when it came to us, we made sure of that. And imagine at the beginning when we had 3 things on our checklist, we're like, oh boy, did we make a lot of mistakes. And every job we learned from our mistakes and we simply added to our checklist. So the next job, we accounted for the dips in the floor. We accounted for the seams. We accounted for the different height differences, all those things. But we didn't know anything about it when we first started.
There had to have been times too, even now though, that you run across additional work that you didn't plan for because you couldn't see it.
Every day. Every day. But we have that as part of our process. And at the beginning, the customer says, in the event that we tear up your flooring and there's areas that need to be repaired greater than X amount of feet, there's going to be an extra charge of blank per foot. And we prepare the customer for that so they can't say you didn't tell me that.
Yeah.
And when they say my salesman didn't tell me that, we look at them and say, Mrs. Smith, I don't know what my salesman said to you or not, but we have your initials right here next to it that says that he did tell you about it. And then they go, oh yeah, I guess you're right. He must have told you about it because these are your initials. It's no different than when they, you rent a car and they say initial here if you want to waive the insurance.
Yeah. That's perfect.
So,
I love it.
Yeah. So everything for us is very process driven.
How often do you think you guys are more expensive and you get the job anyway?
I don't have an answer to your question because
I just believe that
we're not. What we do is we don't think about what other people's prices are. We think about this is what it will cost us to do their job our way, do it professionally, and this is the price that we could run our business on, and that's how we think.
Do you mind sharing the margins that roughly?
The answer is yes to your question, okay. But we are very profitable.
And then what about the closing rate? You've shared that with me before.
We close close to half of what we sit with.
And you only do one call appointments, one call closings in the home.
No, there's plenty of times where we're going back. Plenty of times we're going back. Now, that doesn't mean it's not the goal to the goal is to earn their business when we're there.
Now, I talked to you the first time I interviewed you, you didn't have any follow-up system.
We did not have a follow-up system, but today we do.
You do? Okay.
Because there's often times where you don't have both people home.
Yeah.
They want to bounce it off each other. They have different things that make it happen. But the majority of our business we're able to do the very first time.
Well, I still tell people to give that customer a price in the home, give her an opportunity to buy now. And I still think even if you don't close in the home, it increases your chances that you're going to close by giving them the price while you're in the home and that full presentation.
We always give them a price right then and there. In answer to your question, yes.
Yeah.
Always.
So you made it easy for your salespeople to give a price, and so your salespeople, do they enjoy it and have fun and decorate?
They like it when they're selling, and nobody likes it when they're not selling.
Right.
I mean, what they enjoy. Everybody, the salespeople are very predictable. If you give them a good process and you give them good labor, good materials, they'll go out there and they'll sell it for you and they'll do a great job.
Well, that's a great point too. And how much is it their success has to do with their ability to sell versus making the process easy for them.
I use the McDonald's as my favorite company in the whole world. Why? Because it doesn't matter which McDonald's you go to, they all act the same. So what I want you to think to yourself is in McDonald's, they're doing the same thing every McDonald's you go to. So we have it the same way. We want to make sure that every refloor office you go to, we handle that customer the same way because
Yeah.
they have the same problems and the same concerns. So that's our main goal is to make sure that we're taking care of that customer because they're invaluable to us.
So you guys just run a shop at home. You don't have any showrooms, correct?
We do not have any showrooms currently.
How does that work for you in marketing with Google? And do you put down a location? Do you have to put down like a location, a hub or
We have
something?
location in every market that we're in. We have physical locations. If somebody wants to come in, they can.
Yeah, come into one of the warehouses that.
Absolutely, and we tell them that they can. But typically, our customer they haven't wanted to because we did a good enough job bringing the samples that they wanted to see.
Yeah.
It's to have the right selection that the customer wants, and that I think we do really well.
Do you have any clue what percentage of your jobs are financed?
I do more than 50%.
Wow. And tell them, give them advice. How do you sell financing to customers?
You make sure you bring it up to them.
When in the beginning, just when you're
Yes,
closing the
yes, yes.
sale, or
On the phone, by the way, we're going to bring out some samples. We're going to bring out some financing information, whether you need it or not. We always bring it. Okay. And we'll be prepared to answer any of your questions. So we're bringing it up from the beginning because you're not going to usually hear people say to you, I'm sorry, I can't pay for that. As a general rule, they're not comfortable saying that. No one wants to say to somebody, I don't have the money. So we make sure that they don't have to by saying, hey, it's anything over, 7 or 8 grand, we want to be able to say, and by the way, we have, with financing available, your payment on that will be probably $160, $170.
yeah, something I think I learned from you is that you can't. The financing isn't a tool to close. You got to introduce it early and a couple of times. You
Right from
can't.
the beginning.
Yeah,
Right from the beginning. And if they don't want it, the customer will say, no, 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 I'm not doing that. Great, no problem.
yeah,
I'll be writing you a check. Okay, no problem. We'll take your check. But it's just that comfort level of knowing that they can finance with you and you're going to make it easy. You got to remember, a lot of these sales reps, they want to take the easy road and say, well, they can just put it on their credit card.
right.
I never think like that. I don't know how much space they have on their credit card. I don't even know if their limit is the size of my job. So I want to make sure that we're bringing that up right from the beginning.
Okay. One of the big challenges I've seen for a lot of people is when they have a showroom location and they're trying to enter a new market.
Yep.
If they try to enter a new market with just marketing and without putting a showroom, it seems harder. It seems more difficult to get into a new market with just marketing, and especially if they have a single location somewhere else. So, can you?
But see, this is going to sound a little funny to you. I'm a firm believer of showrooms, and
Okay.
I'll tell you why. It is a lead generation location. If you put your store in and it looks good, people will come walking in the door, and those customers, anyone who walks in your front door, they need a floor or they would not be walking in. That is a really good lead. So if you're asking me what's wrong with my business, it's that I don't have a showroom.
Really? Okay.
I
That's interesting.
love, you got to remember, what business am I in?
The business
The
of
new
new business.
business. What does a store get you?
New business.
Business. So that's how I think. So I'll give you an example. Let's say your rent is $4,000 a month. Okay. And you get 100 people coming in, 25 people a week. Not unrealistic. How much did it cost you per lead? $40.
Yeah.
Well, I can't get leads for $40. So you're asking me, do I like showrooms? I love showrooms.
I like
Now,
showrooms for the small business owners because I think it's easier to operate your business, have employees, not only for customers to go to, but just all in all, it's easier to get it going. I think a model like yours requires a lot of capital to grow it and to sustain it and grow it. It's a lot more work and a
I
lot
mean,
more capital than most
if,
small guys have.
if I have $4,000 a month in rent and I could bring in that 100 people, it's $40. It's $40 a lead to me. That's how I do it. That's
Yeah,
my math. So how much business did that showroom get me? So when you say they struggle without a showroom, they struggle because they don't have the walk-in traffic.
right. So to grow, it seemed like too that to get to 5 million, again, I'm talking about a lot of the small dealers I know of, to get to 5 million almost took a second showroom. Like there's only a certain amount of business that you can get around one showroom.
Right.
And even in a good populated area.
So let's use my McDonald's example again. You're only going to drive to the McDonald's near your house. That's as far as you're going. You know where the other McDonald's are, but you're typically not going to drive that far, Jerry. And that's how I see it. So you have to be where they are, or your advertising has to be where they are. If you have a big budget like me, your advertising can be there. But that's what we do every day. And if you're not an expert at it, you got problems. You have to be measuring how much it costs you per customer. And we do that better than anybody.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know a whole lot of small guys that do, but Buddy Mitchell does a great job measuring that. But there's not a whole lot of people that know their cost per lead.
You have to start that every week, and you have to have a report once a week. If somebody said, "What's the best advice I can give somebody?" Measure, measure, measure. You need to know how many people came to your showroom. I mean, that would be the first. If I was going to buy one of your clients' showrooms, how many people come in? That's what I want to know. How many people per month?
Yeah, that's great advice. So tracking how many people come in now, is it somebody comes in and then just immediately walks out? Maybe you don't have what they need. What do you count as a lead?
The first thing, if somebody walks in the door, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to gather their information. First thing, before they even come in, I'm going to say, "Hi, welcome to Jerry's Floors. How are you today?" "Good, nice to meet you. Let me go grab an intake form. Okay, we'll fill it out and then we'll go walk around and see what you're looking for." So the intake form has their name, address, phone number on it. I'm going to get that. That's the first thing I'm going to get before anything else, because now I have a lead.
Right.
Okay. They came in because they have a problem. I have their name and information so I can solve their problem and be the one that they hire. If I don't grab their name, I'm out of my mind.
Yeah.
If I have a store, that's the first thing I'm getting. I'd grab the intake form. I'd have a clipboard ready to go. Let me grab an intake form. And you get a customer that says, "No, no, no, I don't want to give that to you, Ms. Smith. I probably can't help you then." We have our agenda that we follow with every customer. Number one is to find out who you are. Number two is to find out what you need. And we always go in that order. So if it's not something you feel comfortable giving us your name, it's best to go somewhere else. Now, does that sound harsh? Just as harsh as somebody who won't give me their name.
Yeah.
And 99% of the time, if you say that, the customer will say, "All right, my name is so-and-so. You're not going to call me like crazy. I'll call you as much or as little as you want me to. You tell me not to call you, I won't call you. Tell me to call you, I'll follow up with you. I'll keep my word, and I'd expect you to do the same." Is that fair enough? Yes, it is. Great. But they're guarded. So I tell the story all the time. Salesperson or a person walks into a retail store. It's a salesperson says what, Jerry?
How can I help you?
What do you always say? "No, I'm."
Yeah, I'm just looking. No, I'm
Right.
just looking.
Okay. So they're asking the wrong question. Okay. They came into a retail store. They're interested in something. You're just not asking the right questions. So watch how I change that conversation. You walk into my retail store. "Hey, Jerry, how you doing? question for you. Did you hear about the sale we're having?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Are you thinking tops or bottoms, Jerry?
Tops or bottoms?
Yeah, like shirts or pants?
Oh, okay. I was still on flooring. Shirts,
Shirts. Okay. Let me take you over to shirts that are on sale. Are you thinking button downs or pullovers?
pullovers.
Okay. So yes, all of a sudden you're changing the questions, you change the answers. If you say, "Can I help you?" they're going to say, "No, I'm just looking," because that's what they've been trained to say.
Yeah.
So you have to change the questions in order to change the answer. So if you say to people, "Let me grab an intake form," okay, I'll gather some quick information from you, and we'll show you around and find what you're looking for, so we can solve your problem. So
Yeah.
yes, that's a valuable lead to me.
So you say that's what they've been trained to do. I think it's funny too. I've said this about pricing. People are trained to shop based on price from other companies. You say
Right,
that they're just a price shopper. Well, they've been trained to price shop because the other company made it about the price. So
right,
they're being trained by your competition how to shop based
right.
on price.
When customers start with how much, okay, it can be as expensive as you want it to be or as cheap as you want it to be. Let's first figure out what you need. Let's give you some choices for your home. Okay. And we'll give you the choice from top to bottom. You can pick out which best fits your budget. Is that fair enough, Jerry?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Great. Oh, you picked the expensive one. But it's only $20 more a month, okay, for the floor that you want. So you might as well get the one you want. So all of a sudden you've now changed it.
Now, I don't know if we'd agree on this or not, but would you price your showroom?
Probably not.
Probably not.
And I'll tell you the two reasons why. Number one, because then every time there's a change in pricing, you have to reprice your show. That's
Which I
problem number one.
I love that because
It just
if
it's
you're
just
willing to do something that other people aren't willing to do,
it's I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just
yeah,
saying it's a lot of extra work.
yeah,
But I'm not against it. But I don't want somebody not saying to themselves, "I'm not worth it." So therefore I'm not going to look at that. That one's more than this one, so I'm not willing to look at it. So that's my only reason. So I always try to find what the customer needs first and what they want first. Then give them a price based
yeah.
on that, and then show them alternatives if the product that they pick doesn't fit their budget.
Now, my experience is that when you have the prices on there, it's more comfortable for them to shop, and they gravitate towards more expensive things. They're not looking for cheaper
I don't
things.
I don't know that you're wrong or right. I've never done it, so therefore I don't know. And I don't want to give an answer. You've been in this business a long time, Jerry.
Yeah.
I've been in it a very short while. I just understand what mom wants. Mom has a problem. She wants somebody that they can trust to resolve the problem. That's where I come in. And by the way, there's plenty of the smaller flooring dealers that I would do business with in a second. These guys know their stuff backwards and forwards. So there's a lot of flooring professionals out there that do a great job.
Yeah, when I'm talking, this is what gets me excited when I'm working with them is they do such a great job, but their communication is not there. It doesn't match the experience. Ever see that commercial with Payless where Payless was selling shoes for 6 times the
Hey,
price?
let's see as they
Yeah.
change their yeah.
Love
Yeah.
that. I said, you guys are doing exactly the opposite. You're doing a great job, but you're not doing the presentation. You're giving a Payless presentation rather than showing them how
So
beautiful the floor is going to be and what their presentation is going to be
when
like.
we do our presentation for our customer, we find out what they need. Number one, first and foremost, we tell them a little bit about ourselves, how we can solve their problem. If they feel comfortable that we could solve their problem, we'll show them samples. If they can find a sample that they like, we price them out. We don't price anybody that we can't find what they want.
Right. No, that's fair enough.
I mean, there's no sense pricing somebody on, "Hey, would you like a price on a car that you don't want?" Of course not.
Yeah. So we've developed some strategies around that to help people get an idea of what they're going to be spending. Just because because we feel like it makes them more comfortable taking that
That's
next
called
step.
that's called price conditioning. And there's nothing wrong with that in any way, shape, or form. That's so you're getting them comfortable with what they're going to be spending. I don't know that I do that much, but I don't think there's a downside to it.
Yeah, we don't ask their budget, but because a lot of them don't have a budget, and I don't like asking a question they don't know the answer to.
And yeah, I mean, and I want to know that what they're comfortable with, and I want to know what floor that they want before I decide, or before they decide they can't afford it. I want to price them out on the floor that they can't afford.
Yeah. Well, I think
Because
anybody too will spend more money than they were planning on because they get excited about it. And again, it's not unethical.
if they fall in love with something, they pay more for what they fall in love with.
Yeah.
People are like, "Oh, Brian, you don't understand. Our market's different." No, your market's exactly the same as all the other markets I'm in. You got a consumer. Everybody's price conscious. But price conscious, hey, Mrs. Smith, if you get the floor you want and you paid $600 more for that floor, but you got the floor you loved, wasn't it worth the $600? And the majority of the people will say yes. Aren't you worth the $600? Get the floor you want.
Right.
I mean, that's the things that we say to customers every day. You deserve this. You work hard for your money. Why would you want to punish yourself? You got an old floor you don't like. Why would you buy a new floor you don't like?
Right.
Get what you want. Yes, it costs more. I'm sorry. But being honest with people and just telling them the truth, that's what they really want from you.
Now, last question, because you alluded to this, but you said it differently. But one of the things I always had as a rule is I don't have policies. I have a process. And what you said is this is our agenda, which I love that because just transparent. And it might be meaningless, but any thoughts on a policy versus a process?
Policy has a negative connotation. It's not that I don't use the word, I do. But this is our process. This is how we do it here. We get your information, we follow our process because we want to make sure that the output is exactly what you want. And every time we follow our process, we make happy customers. When we don't follow our process, people are unhappy, and that's the last thing we'll allow at Refloor.
Yeah. And some people have a policy, if you will, that they won't lend out samples. And I always say, what you want to explain is, well, this is our process. I'll bring the sample out to you. I'll show it in your home. So whatever it is, you could spin it into a good process that's to the benefit of the customer.
Watch this. We have free samples. You're welcome to take as many as you want. Okay. They're $36 a piece. Okay. You got 21 days to return them. We do take a credit card. We don't charge your card. We take it, bring it back in 21 days. There's never a charge to your card. Well, how come I have to give you the card? Because I'd like to get the samples back.
Yeah.
Okay. By the way, the samples magically disappear without the card. They magically come back with the card. And you just tell the truth. But you're there to say, if a customer of mine wants a sample, you can bet your butt we give them a sample.
Yeah.
We're there to service them. It's not the other way around. And we don't care because we can cut small pieces. We don't care if we leave the samples with them and if we don't get it back.
Yeah, what we live to do, especially in the showroom, is say, yeah, no problem. We'll even pick it up from you. Come out, measure, give you a guaranteed in-home estimate, and pick a sample up from you. So
that works too. And that's where so you brought up the power of the showroom.
Yeah,
that's the power of the showroom. So I love showrooms. So there's nothing no one's like I want 100 people to come into my building every month. So that's how I look at it. And there's some of these stores that I've been to that I bet you they're bringing in 30, 40 people a day. I mean, some of these big stores, it's unbelievable. And if you really want to learn from some of these businesses, just, copy of them. Watch how Floor and Decor does things. They do big business out of that company.
But I say if Floor and Decor really knew what they were doing, they would crush us all because it's hard to do business with them as a consumer because you got to jump through all these hoops. And it's like, man, if they were really good at customer service, they would crush us all.
That is correct. They're good at what they do, though.
Yeah.
They they have a wide variety. They have it in stock. It's ready to go for you. I think they do a nice job.
The
They're not
beautiful store.
unbelievable stores. So to me, it's just to take on, to me, it's to take on my competition is the status quo, not any flooring retailer. I just got to get that customer off the couch to go to their computer and fill out an online request or to give us a call. And that's what my goal is, Jerry.
Now, I know your goal is to be the largest flooring dealer in the country.
Largest and most trusted flooring company in the country.
Okay.
The reason why is in order to be that large, you've got to be trusted. And, I look at Amazon and people trust Amazon. Why?
Well,
They deliver on their promises.
okay, one last question. This is something I found fascinating when I asked you the first time because I watched other interviews, and when you were in the other industries, roofing and window replacement, you'll never see that customer again. It's different
Correct.
now.
It is. So we did a roof. If I did my roof right, we should never talk to that person again. Okay?
Yeah.
These roofs come with 35 to 50-year warranties. That's a long time. Okay? That would put me at 59 years old. I'll be 89 years old by the time the roof begins to leak. So therefore, it's a one-shot thing. With flooring, I can get a room, I can get another room, I can get their basement, I can get their bathroom, I can get their kitchen, I can get their hallways, multiple opportunities under one roof.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that it's a memorable experience. And I've heard people get frustrated with their customers. They weren't loyal to me. They did this, they did that. It's your job to be in front of the customer, not the customer to be in front of you.
So do you have a marketing plan or process that goes out to past customers?
The answer is of course. Of course, because that's my best possible easy lead.
I would bet you over 90% of flooring dealers have nothing going to previous customers, no marketing.
And it's very simple. Just mail them a postcard once a quarter.
Once a quarter.
You don't
Four
have to
touches a year.
4 chances a year, cost you $1 a piece, cost you $4 a year.
Yeah.
You have them all pre-made. You can have a little sticker, you can put it on yourself, doesn't matter. 4 times a year. And just say, hey, got other rooms? We got your floor. Call today. We love you for being a VIP customer. Brian Elias, the end. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Those customers, they already trust you. They believe in you. One phone call does it all. Whatever you want to say. There's no wrong answer here. But those customers belong to you. Don't let your competitors take them. And I can't tell you how many times we'll get in front where somebody did a beautiful job on their floors and they still buy from me.
Well, I told somebody this the other day is if you do a bad job but you go in and fix it, they'll be a customer for life. If you do a great job and you don't have any problems, they may use somebody else because the assumption is anybody can do it, but
Right.
It's kind of funny. If you have a problem, they'll use you again and again.
So if you see our focus is all about mom making her happy because when she's unhappy, nobody's happy.
Yeah.
So let's focus on her and let's do a good job for her and let's win her heart. And if we win her heart, we win her business.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic. Okay. I meant to say it in the beginning. I'll say it in the notes, but make sure you grab a pen and paper for this one because you're going to want to take a lot of notes. There is a lot of great stuff here that actionable items that you can implement now. Thanks, Brian. I appreciate it. Great interview. Fantastic having you on again. And
to help anybody. Anybody, feel free to add me on LinkedIn, on Facebook, or anywhere you want.
Yeah, he's real approachable. So you need some help in your flooring business, give him a call.
Thank you so much, Sherry.
All right, Brian. Thanks for coming on.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Thanks for joining the Flooring Business Podcast. Now, if you'd like to have a one-on-one discovery call and learn how you can increase your profit and sales by over 30%, go to jerrylevinson.com and let's discuss where you're at and where you want to go. Don't forget to tune in next week where we have another great podcast with another flooring pro.